So could you check?
Yeah, now it works. Yeah.
Yeah, so here, get back to the silent student. So which idea do you like more and why? So now you can choose the answer and it's all right. We here are to help each other, yeah, to think together. Yeah. And also, yeah, here like reflecting on knowing if it's something that you would like to discuss. So what can we do to know can help here. Like, do we need to know to give an answer? Also, like, do you think, for example, I know Marino, someone who raised his or her hand, do you think, yeah, she knows? Well, like again, your mom, another teacher, yeah, knows, or I, yeah, know why and what enables her to know. So it can be something about knowledge as well, a kind of reflection on like ways of knowing, fear of knowledge. So if you do wish to work on it, so it's also possible. So that's about I don't know problem. Do you have any questions so far? Okay, you can
I
show
have
me.
a question. No, I have a question
Mhm.
about one of the question you asked in the form was that how do you deal with the students who ask many questions, I think, or I think was
Who looks for the right answer, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
and
let me
how
open.
do
Let's have a look. So, um, so would you like to look
yeah,
through that
this
answer?
one,
Mhm.
how to deal with a child looking for the right answer? But for me, it's a bit because I also have this question before, but I didn't ask it because my teaching philosophy and sometimes the children I ask, I also say before that sometimes they come up with some question that maybe it's not really for some country you are not allowed to express or answer this question. And also here in for example in the society like democrat society, I will see that okay, government doesn't have problem, but a school has another problem, like parents are powerful here, and they almost control the topic or the things that are going to school and the discussion in the class. Do you understand what I mean? And then how teachers can deal with this situation. Because I know that, for example, in some countries that the teachers are not allowed to say that. I have seen that. I also had experience that my teacher, for example, maybe they could answer my question in private, but not in the class because it was not safe for them. But here, if they ask some question and then some parents doesn't want this topic come up within the class, and how you deal with that. I'm not saying that specific countries or specific people, because some people are religious, some Muslim, Christian, or anyway, maybe they don't like that their child, I don't know, change their view about, for example, what they believe actually.
Are you
And
speaking
sometimes,
about, sorry, are you speaking about taboos, for instance?
yeah,
So
to like taboos or some religious issues, for example, because it has to be conflict. If some families are really religious and they are strict, but in society is not. But children mostly they have conflict between what they have in at home and what they see in society, and how we should deal with that actually when we want to talk freely actually, because we cannot say lie to children to say something that is not really truth. And for me, I believe that I have to answer it with the simple and really right truth to children, but sometimes maybe it doesn't work. So you understand what I mean? And I didn't know that how should I answer this question, because for me it's a bit tricky.
If I got it right, the question is tricky because it is all right for some children to look for this right answer due to their like beliefs and traditions they have their
Yeah,
families. right?
And how teacher can deal with that, because you want to teach maybe everything, and some children say something that is really interesting for them, and they have some question, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think that Marcel's session, is going to be about that, about the this specific international context, and some like difficult questions like that. So I guess we need
Partly.
to
But
we need to Marcel.
Yeah, well, if I may, I can already briefly say something about it. We'll not use too much time on this one. Not at this moment, I mean, because it's a very important question, I think. For me, it has all to do with dilemmas that teachers, dilemmas that teachers sometimes face in their teaching. And especially in international classrooms, depending on the context of the country, for instance, or depending on the blend of different cultural variety that you have in your classroom. And in the next circle around that, of course, the variety and diversity in parental variation. So I think it depends very much on the context, but I think it is best to approach this in terms of dilemmas. I think there's no one good answer that either Anastasia or I could provide as in how you should respond, but it has something to do with teachers facing dilemmas. And in dilemmas, you always have to make a choice, and you have to sacrifice sometimes something over something else. So you have to make and sometimes this really has to occur very quickly in a split second. As a teacher, you have to sometimes make a choice very quickly and think of whether there is a situation of trade-off in which you have to choose, for instance, for openness over security. Security for yourself, or security for children in the classroom, or security for parents, or the other way around. You can also choose for security and then decide to sacrifice openness, or giving a genuine answer, for instance, or allowing a dialogue to go any further than a particular taboo moment in the dialogue, for instance. So I think there's no one way of answering that, but I think the first and foremost thing to do is to acknowledge that, yes, indeed, sometimes we as teachers have to acknowledge that we are confronted with a dilemma. And I think the best way forward, and I will say more about that in the session about international curricula and philosophy for children, but I think the best way forward is to develop some kind of routine in how you want to be a teacher, what kind of teacher you would like to be. And then try to almost think hypothetically of, okay, if this situation were to occur, and if a child were to bring up this particular issue, or if I were to have a discussion with a parent over this, then I think this would be my response. So to already anticipate on what could potentially happen, in order to avoid that you will be confronted with the dilemma and almost freeze and don't know what to do. So I think you can think this through as a thought experiment. Maybe we can mix that into that session on P4C in international school contexts. So I'll take it with me and think about how we can talk about that. That's my take on it.
We even need some a kind of like, I don't know, several specific examples, something that really comes to your mind. Yeah, something specific question, specific topic or answer. It would be really better like to consider really like so the question that you came with. Maybe you just, for example, in some classes you just do not take or do not bring something that would arise it. Of course, it always can happen, like naturally. So, but you can choose. So somehow you form, the topic anyway. With the question, with the stimulus, with the So you actually bring something.
But I really like the question. It's a really important question, and I think I agree with you, Anastasia. To round it off at this moment, if that's okay with you, Nasran, I think it's best that we bring in a case or two cases in that particular session, and then we can talk about concrete cases. Okay,
thank you. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So actually, I wanted to look briefly through your answers, because they are quite good. But you all missed one question. I don't know, due to technical problems or something that was really strange. Like no one answered one question. So I don't know. We had a look at this one. So it seems to me here I was not pretty clear. Maybe. So how would you deal with the answer you didn't get? It means that you heard something that you didn't get. You don't know what was it about. You don't understand what was said. Yeah, that's it. And I can see here. So yeah, the first answer, it seems to me, was about the child. If the child didn't get something. Good that you tell us this. Could you explain it again? So you just ask to like reformulate or to put it shortly. Yeah, that's a good way. So yeah, I would let it rest and try to involve others into the dialogue. If you just put it aside, like as if it never happened, it may be needed sometimes as well. Maybe even, in cases that Nestoran asked about right now. Yeah, you realize that you are not ready to dive into it. Yeah, and then you heard it. Okay, it's here, and you try to maybe really to avoid it at that moment. Yeah, and just go on with the main thing you do. But when you heard something you didn't realize, the first thing you can, again, like you can admit it. Yeah, you can ask to put it shortly, the first thing, without like saying you didn't get it. You can always check with others. Okay, so just like who got what, I don't know, Marina said. Could you say it in your own words briefly? Yeah, and yeah, you check if the group understands as well. It's really very important move. Yeah, very important practice that you do like really regularly. Yeah, you check with the group, and then you respect the words as well, even if you didn't get them. So you work with them, they are important, and you try to make sense of out of them. Explain. Yeah, here, if you hear some, for example, some children can be really good at, I don't know, chemistry. For example, I'm bad at chemistry, and they give some examples, or like about, I don't know, so time theories. I'm really interested in them, but I don't know the specific theory the child was trying to explain. So we just made it like a deal. He shared the video, the film, like BBC film, with us, with the whole group, and we watched it afterwards. Really to understand him. So he tried his best. We couldn't get it, so we just decided he shares and we watch. Yeah, then we can do it. Yeah, it is possible as well. Like the main credo, like the credo here is, you are always ready to admit that you are an ignorant philosopher. Remember Socrates, yeah, I know that I know nothing. And if you truly honestly admit it, it, like, again, encourages even silent children yeah, to try and to learn and to know something. And you always can ask for help. Okay, like I as a facilitator still can show, okay, I'm lost, sorry, yeah, I didn't get it, please help me, somebody. Yeah, you can always do that. So yeah, irrelevant, again, yeah, very good answers. Like you try to anchor, yeah, go back to the initial question, ask others, like, where are we? Ask the person who gave an irrelevant answer, do you see the connection? Why are you talking? Why are you giving this example right now? Why are you talking about it? What's the relation? Maybe someone sees it. Sometimes it happens that the person who gave an irrelevant answer, it was an association, but not that clear, yeah, and logical in his or her head. But sometimes other children, oh, I know, that's because, and they like involve their own experience and explain why it is really relevant. And sometimes for our, like adults' perspective, it was not obvious. Here, yeah, so I will share the answers you gave, so you can read them through as well later. Deal with the repetition of ideas. So who is so good at P4C? So the imaginary disagreeer, and use the if-in technique. So could you give a comment here?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remembered this also from my P4C lessons in the first year.
Uh-huh.
And it's also been very useful during my own P4C sessions, because it can sometimes happen, and that all of the students suddenly agree with each other. Might be some peer pressure there, but and then the imaginary disagreeer is basically, yeah, it's a super easy and effective technique to still have them think about the opposite.
Yeah, like imagine
arguments.
someone comes into the room and says, "No, I disagree with you. My answer is different."
And
what
sometimes I play that role. Then I'll be just disagreeing with all of them. So I don't agree with all of you, and then I have the students, basically respond to me.
Yeah, you can use this if so you can try to imagine like a bit different circumstances in order to make them see a new perspective, to see something else, or to see a problem in the answers. That's one more thing is good when you ask them again to compare, because they might be not really absolutely the same answers, but similar or like in the same field. And they all start thinking about like in the same direction, and you ask them, so do you think it was a really new answer, or do you see anything anything that unites our your answers? And they can again, that's logic, they can express it, they can notice it, and you can say, okay, and maybe we can try something else, and they can come up with it by themselves, or thanks to your imaginary disagreeer, or like if you suggest something with if, imagining some possibilities. Here about the right answers. Here you reminded the like this, what is special about P4C. Then that was the actually the main thing. You can also investigate a bit if you're already, it's maybe a bit more about psychology, but still you can also ask why do you need a definite answer? What's the problem with not having a definite answer? Or is it a problem to have several answers? So you can investigate this anxiety, some problems of choice, and that can be a very important thing as well. And not only for the one who was really showing it, but for all the rest as well. So that's one more thing you can do here. Just to really to learn more about, like knowing thyself, for the child and for the others. But here, how to deal with a circular or a long answer. So no one answered. What was the problem? Tell me.
The problem was, I think, that the question was only posed in Russian, and when I tried Google Translate to translate it, it gave me no translation.
But it's in English here?
Yeah, but not in the original.
Really? That's funny.
Not in my.
I haven't changed anything. That was a technical problem. I don't know how it.
I don't know about the others. Carmen?
Really? All right. So here, like circular, when you hear that the child starts, explains, and then goes back to the same thing and repeats himself. It happens sometimes, even with very smart children. They are trying like to be really clear, but they start giving these circular answers.
This is what sometimes happens in my class with a few students. They will just repeat the question in a very fancy way, in a very articulate way. And it's basically repeating, in the end, they repeat the question. They answer the question by repeating the question.
Okay, that's funny.
It's like, why do you think it's important? And then they end with, and I think it's really important.
Full stop.
Full stop. Yeah. Okay. So why? But this happened. I mean, the students are 7 or 8. So
it's what many politicians do as well.
Yeah.
You can use their speeches to practice logic and to look for fallacies. Really.
But I do have the feeling that some students really don't get that they're not giving a reason why. So that they think they're actually giving a reason, but they don't understand or get that they just repeating the question. What could be, like, how could you, what could be a simple step to have students understand that that's not explaining something, not giving reasons?
Actually, you can sometimes you can just repeat this why to make them like get used to it. Yeah, so very often even young children get used to this argument concept. Yeah, so this and you can also kind of remind, not just asking why, so tell us why, like, but you can ask, okay, yeah, I again, yeah, like we hear your answer. So did you explain us why? So did you give us a reason? Yeah, why do you think it's significant? And he go, oh, really? I didn't. Okay, let me think. Yeah, so you can kind of remind it like that as well. So again, maybe he doesn't have any, and he can ask for help, as we discussed with I don't know answer. Okay, so but we still haven't answered. What if we have this really long and circular answer? Yeah, not just repeating the question, but really there is like a lot of content there. But you hear that it's rather long, yeah, and maybe kind of vague, or it repeats itself. So what would you do? Okay, only Marcel? Okay, Marcel. Mike is yours.
Just to kick it off, and I'm certainly not an expert in this, but a few ideas that I have, I would try to break the answer down in particular segments, and maybe write something on the board and say, okay, listen, when I listen carefully to what you say, then you basically say 3 things. Let me write this up for you. And then I would write together with them and ask for the consent during the writing, and seeing whether what I write on the board is indeed a part of what they say. So I would deconstruct their answer and break it down into, say, three chunks. I mean, and then look into what these particular chunks mean, and together with the entire group. So that could be one possibility.
Okay, break it down together or in writing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that has more to do with my with my brain capacity maybe than with the answer of the child.
Okay. Anything else we can do here?
Maybe it's an indication that they haven't really thought of it really well yet. So they keep on trying to, you know, fish an answer that they hope is right, but they can't seem to. Yeah. So give them some more time, or group them, you know, have them talk to each other about it, or just, well, yeah, kind of in that.
Yeah, you can ask. Yeah, if you have a big group, you can ask all of them. Yeah, to this share pair. Yeah, giving this time. And yeah, come up with a shorter answer. You always can ask, could you put it shorter, please? Yeah, can you make one sentence? What is your main statement? Could you share it? Okay, yeah, you tried to explain. You gave us a lot of details. Now, could you? Yeah, just like again, it's really helpful. You can say, okay, now what can I write down? How can I write it down? And you can ask, you can see if this person really needs training, yeah, conceptualizing and putting things shorter and clearer. So you can ask the author first, but you also encourage this active listening, and you can ask okay, and you check the understanding as well. Yeah, so you okay, so someone who were the audience, someone from the audience, please tell me, what should I write down? Like, what's our like next statement, next idea, or next argument? Yeah, so yeah, and you ask them. If it's really it's still hard for them, if they are not ready yet, or maybe the question is difficult, maybe they are just like starting doing all that. You can help them to do this job, and you can check, okay, did I get it right? I told you already, yeah. So did I get it right? Are you saying about, and yeah, it's a kind of Marcel's, yeah, answer. So are you speaking about this, this, and this? Okay, it seems to me that I hear this and this in your, in your long answer. Is that right? Are you speaking about that? Yeah, do you all hear this or maybe something else? And then you can, again, if you write things down, you can then also fix it. So, or you will discover that there is something else. If the answer is, if the speech was confused, you can ask, okay, do you think you're clear? Okay. Oh no, I know I'm not clear. Okay, you can also like check with the group because sometimes they aren't aware that they are long and the circular answer is not really good. He's surprised. Okay, so would you like to try one more time? Okay, I would like to try one more time, and he tries one more time. Yeah, Marcel?
Yes, what about the risk of putting words in children's mouths? You have this typical situation in which a child almost, or in which a student almost says something that makes you think of a particular line of thought or train of thought, and you think, they're thinking of this and this and this. Is it a go? Is it a no-go in a philosophical dialogue with the classroom to fill that in, as it were? Should you always remain a bit withholding as a facilitator? Is that the best?
It seems to me you asked me a kind of this question at the very first session. I wouldn't say that it's a no-go. Yeah, it is really possible, and it depends on what you want. Sometimes you can like give the mic and like really step out of the circle, and maybe it's your like final aim, so that they are really skillful enough and I don't know, aware enough of and respectful and collaborative and all the rest, yeah, and critical and creative, and they can do that on their own. That's your like aim, that so that they are able to organize this kind of dialogue anywhere, even when they are like just problem solving yeah, somewhere. But when they are learning, especially when they are learning like to crystallize thought, yeah, and you also can I think you can be the one who helps them, yeah. So yeah, me like at first I don't see, yeah, and you check it, is that yeah, like that. So they can say no. Sometimes you can you can see this doubt, yeah, in the child's answer, like, oh yeah, so you will see it, and then you check if your reformulation or maybe even the words, yeah, the terms you use are clear for children. Again, you check with the others, you will notice it, yeah. But if you really got the point, they are usually really happy. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say. Yeah, so like, yes, that's it. And they see that it's a bit more structured, so you help them practice this.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I do see a slight risk there, because there is, of course, the pedagogical trap to step in there and become not the facilitator, but become the teacher and start teaching children what they actually should think. And that is, of course, a no-go, because as a facilitator, at least in my perspective, and as a philosopher, you would want them to think, right? So the moment you step in and you provide a concept or an idea, then you could also argue that it has become your idea, right? So where do you draw the line? Or am I too rigid here?
So I think you again, you decided like at every moment. Yeah, so you decide, you also can decide on like what's your like like I don't know, your personal style. What's the aim of the specific session? Is it rather something to give them this really free speech, like free time, just talking on that? Is it something, is the aim really to help them work on logic and to help them and show them an example of structured thought, of structuring, really strictly structuring the discussion. And then you are a more active facilitator or less active facilitator, the one who helps them reformulate and write down thoughts, or like you don't do that and leave only like quote the words of children. So
I don't want to take up too much time, but
okay.
Yeah.
Right. So now we go to the presentation. So I will just show you the first slide. So we won't be able, actually to do it right now, but it's something that you can think as well. We spoke about questioning, like why do we question? Why do we ask children question? And why do we want them to ask questions? What is a good question in general? So, of course, it's worth thinking of what makes a philosophical question a good a good question for inquiry. So you may think of criteria and write them down. Yeah, and maybe you also can take into account again your specific context. Yeah, what is a good question for inquiry? An open one, a big one, and it's the one that you are ready to work on. Yeah. So now let me see. We have. I really wanted to do this exercise with you, but I'm sure it can take really much time. But here you can see something that's an exercise. So what is the main thing in the universe? You see again, but here you can see like 8 very different answers, and like these imaginary children that tell you. And some of them were like, I don't know, but I don't know what. That's like asking for a definite answer. Okay, I don't know what. So what? Tell me. So we discussed this one. We worked on this cloud. And you see these really different perspectives. Yeah, you have the main like critic in your group. You have maybe the one from a religious family, and that's something that is really worth thinking of. So someone who prefers to be special. I won't tell you; it's my secret. And so on. So and a fan of science, of course. So can I ask you to, so that I have even the next slide is like worked through, and you have some questions, possible questions to each cloud. What maybe we can make to make it a bit faster than it should be. You can choose one cloud. That seems the most challenging maybe for you. And write down the question that you would ask here when you hear this question, except I don't know. So we don't work with this cloud anymore. And could you write it in our chat? So I can number, but I can number. The 1 second. Where is my pencil? Here.
So just to make sure, we need to pick one of the clouds, except for I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then we need to take that one as a starting point and think, what kind of question could we ask ourselves or others about this particular cloud?
So you hear this answer, and what will be? What would you ask the child who gave you this answer?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a stupid question. Why do you ask?
How much time do we have to think about this question?
Let's take like 4 minutes. So 6:20. Could you try? If you did it quickly, you can pick up one more. Okay, it seems I received all the answers. So most of you were interested in the answer number 5. It's a stupid question. So maybe my numbers would disappear if I stop sharing the screen right now. So could you share your choice, and so we can start with Nastaran?
Yeah, actually, I was interested for 5 and 3. What is a universe? And also, it's a stupid question. I would ask, why I'm interested. Why the child thinks that is really stupid. And also, I was thinking that put these two child together, number 5 and 3, and maybe they can help each other to, because it's a bit one of them doesn't know what's the actually universe, and other ones say that is really a stupid question, and maybe the number 5 can help number 3, and then they come up at the end with the answer that is not really stupid. And also
yeah, that's great. So maybe it's obvious for number 5. What is the universe and what is the answer? Maybe, but it's just an assumption. And what is the universe? That's a really big question, and we don't know why he asked it here as well yet. Yeah, that's nice suggestion, really.
So should I maybe Carmen next?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I had a similar train of thought where I wanted to figure out, okay, well, why is it a stupid question for you? Just so you know, okay, what is going on? Why? Maybe it's something different, and maybe the child is not engaged with this particular question, and you can figure out what to do next based on their answers. But I like how Nastran said that you could link them together. I hadn't thought of that yet, so that's a nice suggestion. Should we pass the mic, or?
Yep.
Yeah, so Bernard.
Thank you. Well, regarding question 5, I had similar thoughts. Like, I would also ask, like, what do you mean with stupid? Just what Carmen phrased as well.
What would you define as stupid? That's
because stupid is a very subjective answer. And I also like what Nastran said, because I think a lot of students will indeed give a very personal. They give a personal answer, and well, most of them answer with something that is important to them. Maybe it could be so, and then if someone else says, well, it's a stupid question, I think the others would definitely disagree. Some of them, because they think it's something important to think about. So that could be an interesting starting point for a discussion indeed. And I also looked at question number 1.
Oh, wait a minute, please. So could we ask then, okay, you think it's a stupid question. Is there anyone who thinks it's not a stupid question? Yeah, it's a good question. Again, you can see like 1 or 2 or 3 hands. Yeah, maybe 5, I don't know. And you ask him, okay, pick up someone. Would you like to hear why someone doesn't find it as a stupid question? That's again up to you. You can ask for an argument. That's a really great question, like when you ask to define and what really makes things stupid. what are the criteria, of stupidity. Yeah, really great. Very conceptual. And then you can work on it. And you can ask others to share why they find it not stupid and important or like interesting. Good. So
Yeah, Marcel,
it drew you drew
there you go.
all your attention. Marcel, what was your choice?
Yes, I chose number 2. I won't tell you, it's my secret, and that was an intriguing answer to me because I think, as far as I can see, all the other answers give you the response, right? They give you content to think about, and number 2 is the only answer that does not give you any hint for any content.
Even stupidity.
Yeah, okay. Except stupidity, yes, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Well, this one intrigued me more because, and especially the word secret, because I know that in many traditions, religious traditions, there is this element of secrecy that is being kept by the people who are knowing, and people who get introduced into a certain tradition need to find their own path or their own way into that particular religious tradition. And you could argue that the same could be the case for this huge, overwhelming question that all falls upon us. What is the main thing in the universe from a philosophical point of view? And the only way into the answer of this question is to do individual investigations, so to research it. So this one particular participant has said, I won't tell you, it's my secret, because it is now your turn to answer this question, and you have to do that independently. And I'm not going to give you any clue here. It is the quest that is important. So start with it, and I'm not going to tell you. So that was my take on this answer, and that's why I hoped that the respondent would reveal why they wouldn't want to share their answer. And this is a very legitimate reason not to share. Okay. By the way, you don't know this, but I do know the answer to this question. But I won't tell you, it's my secret.
So, okay, yeah. Then you'll see it later. You also can ask this like if question. So what happens if you share? What's the problem here? Yeah. So sometimes this one is even a bit more difficult. So if so the child is really conscious about telling that. Sometimes it can be playful. Sometimes it can be that deep, as Marcel said. So if it's that deep, the child would be able to explain it maybe somehow. If it was just playful, sometimes it may even like hide no answer as well. Like and so you can also even check that like so but do you really, so but you won't tell, is that right? So you can ask, what if you share, what might happen, what's the problem there? And of course you can ask just to explain why should it be a secret. Yeah. So, and number 4, Marcel, you commented one more. Could you say about that one? So electrons, I'm sorry, there is no E, I forgot to erase it. Electrons and other small particles, because everything is built from them. So the only answer with an argument.
Yes, I was less intrigued by this one, and still number 2 keeps intriguing me. It's like wanting to know the answer to how to solve the Rubik's Cube, right? So just show me how to solve the Rubik's Cube. No, it's something that you have to do yourself with all these. Okay. But number 4, I thought a good question to ask is, how do you know for sure, or something similar? So how can you know this for sure? So trying to unravel how this person came to this answer. And you can then indeed ask for arguments. Yeah,
and then you investigate, again, like gaining knowledge, the way we get knowledge, the way we, the sources we trust and other things. Okay. So could you, before I show you, the next one, could you try, like from right now, what would you do with my mom answer? So Marcel, you can pick up someone.
Anastasia, what would you do?
Oh, I have the answer on the next slide. I don't want to. It's your chance to come up with a question.
You won't tell, it's your secret.
I will, but a bit later.
Then Carmen. So what would
Yeah.
you do with the answer of my mom?
I think this is a great gateway to enter the fact, okay, are there different universes? What would you define as universe? So go back to, well, what is a universe? Some would say it's like the big space and the planets and everything, whilst others have a more, well, smaller sense of a universe with things that are just very important to them. For example, the his or her mom. So I think it'd be a great way to showcase that there are different answers possible, or that there are different ways to express what a universe is. I think.
So you would
Just,
yeah, you would ask what is the universe then?
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, Bernard or Nastaran, have you got anything like different on your mind, Bernard?
Well, I think it's a rather sweet answer. I'd like to know why his or her mom is so special to them, and I think this could lead into a further discussion about, like, where do you, or who are the important people in your life, and maybe talk about what, like Garmin speaks about very big ideas, and maybe it could also be a very nice idea of, like, maybe going to thankfulness, like, what are you thankful for?
Okay,
I think as a mom, like, his or her mom is something that parents are something that you interact with every day, maybe some of them, and I think it's just a very practical idea. It's a very practical concept that you can.
Okay, you
see, I'd like to know why. That's basically it.
I noticed that you, and that's like, again, one of the things you like might be ready or not ready to do. So you had like kind of agenda. Yeah, so what is the main thing of the universe, and you as well, maybe you have some further exercises, activities, games, or whatever, and I don't know, books, films you want to show and investigate with them. But at the same time, you are really, when you share your answers right now, you are really ready to work with the given answer, with something that can be important for this group, for this child, and ready to change the topic and investigate stupidity, for example. Investigate this, I don't know, what may why do people have secrets? why is it possible to live without secrets and other things? So you are ready to create a philosophical question as well out of their stupid answer. Not stupid, maybe like an answer that we're not ready to hear at first. Some unusual, and you're ready to really to investigate. So the words are important, and you, maybe that's really even more important than the initial question, because they gave it. And that's really really great. So you spoke about maybe thankfulness and like types of the universes, like little small universe, or like when you draw this, like the world outside, you go like far from you to this vast universe, and you can go inside, and like draw circles inside.
I think now that you mention it, I think what you're saying is true. The idea of anchoring back to the question didn't pop up in my mind, so I think that's I didn't even consider that. So there might also be a pitfall, I guess. But that would really depend on what my objective of that lesson would be. But that's good, because now that you say it, and when I reflect on my answers, it's indeed true that I always just go along, and sometimes forget to anchor back.
But sometimes you can go back to it. Yeah, you work with something that can be important right now. Yeah, right here, right now, and then go back to it. Yeah, that's okay too. Again, that's a matter of choice. So the almost the last thing here. Do you think that the answer number 7 is the most difficult? No. Okay. So
I do think it is the most difficult one.
okay, Nastaron, you shake your head. Why not? What would you do with it?
I think, yeah, I agree with Marcel that is maybe it's difficult, but it depends of how you talk and how discuss and how you ask from the child, because I already knows the answer why he says or she says that God. You know that, but that's the depends is really depends of how you can make the discussion with child. But how you think that is difficult, Marcel?
I think it is the most difficult one because you run the enormous risk of turning a philosophical dialogue into a theological dialogue. And that is not the same. And I'm not saying that either of the two is more important, but if your aim is to investigate a concept philosophically, and because of this answer number 7, you drift off, so to speak, into a theological direction, then you're actually doing something else than what you originally wanted to do. And that is basically also happening when you drift off in terms of how Bernard has just explained it. So when you want to give credit to reasons that learners may have why they want to speak about thankfulness or their mother or cherished things in life, who am I to say that is not important to them at this moment? Of course it is. But
so you mean there is some ethical issues?
There's ethical issues, but there's also an agenda. And I think, or at least I think in a good philosophical session, you should have an agenda. And unless you have different aims with your philosophical session, you can also have it as an aim, I think, to do a philosophical session with a classroom because you want to work on openness towards each other in the classroom. And then philosophy and philosophy for children can be a very interesting vehicle for that. But if you have it as your aim that you want to philosophize with children for the sake of philosophy and for the sake of arguing and argumentation, then I think it is a huge risk to drift off into one of those other directions that are mentioned over here. Yeah. But that's my personal take on it. I don't know how Anastasia thinks about this.
Yeah, I told you it depends on your aim and your like hours you have. So if you really like your I don't know, your commitment to someone, yeah, because like you have to do something in, I don't know, 6 meetings, for example, yeah, and you or you're really free, yeah, to work with the things, yeah, they give, or maybe you would like to change. Sometimes work on stick to the question and yeah, follow your agenda. Sometimes be really open and free to work with whatever is said and investigate it right here, right now. I can show you like very shortly an example from like my from this week. So that was the stimulus, yeah, this picture, and the agenda I had. So the convention of I'm trying just to put it correctly. So the rights of the child. So and like to create their own, yeah. So what would they suggest? Yeah, what kind of rights should be put there? Imagine that they were creating the law, yeah, creating this document. So to speak about, yeah, their rights and what is important for them. But the first thing we had a little like kind of training of questioning, and in my really experienced group, one girl quite quickly came up with the question like, how do children affect the world? And it was a great question, and we decided to stick to it. And I didn't share my agenda, like the little video I had and all the rest exercises I prepared. I suggested them, oh, that's really a great question. Do you like it? Yeah, so the group really agreed, and yeah, we worked on it during the whole session. And then the next time we met, we worked on this on the convention. So yeah, it might happen.
So you basically decided to go with the flow because you were so
Yes.
inspired about
Yeah,
the
we were inspired, yeah, with the really great question. So okay, the thing is that you discussed some issues around, but you still didn't gave any particular step. So, and you also noticed that the child gives a kind of a reason, like my dad says so. So if, for example, you are not ready to work with the theology, yeah, and turn it into a theological discussion or face some ethical problems. So is it possible here to work on his way to argue? So do you see a problem in my dad says so? Okay, Carmen?
Well, he didn't say, or she didn't say what she thought or he thought. So he just copied an answer from his parent or her parent, but not what he actually believes the main thing in the universe is. So you could ask, okay, so this is what your dad says. And now that you've heard some of the other answers, what do you think? And it could be the same, could not be, but I think that's one of the things that you could.
Okay, maybe you hear a bit different answer again, and because God, it can be really, really very different thing. Yeah, so as a creator, as the one who is always like here and helps, so it can be like different concept of God, and it's quite all right to hear. It even doesn't depend on religion. Yeah, so the way, is it nature? Is it a kind of a big parent? Yeah, a guide, and who is that for this child? Why is he, yeah, or like something that gives like movement to everything, I don't know, inspires life. What's that? It's really, yeah, great to share that. Why not? So yeah, you can ask it here. Okay, let me share. So that was, oh sorry, that was what we again did with our with my teenagers. Yeah, when the experienced teenagers who try sometimes they are interested in working, yeah, with children, yeah, maybe, yeah, in the future, or like in summer, yeah, doing something like that, and try to step into facilitators' shoes as well. So that's something that we discussed and put around the questions. So yeah, so that was like what makes God the main thing. Yeah, so then you try to learn what's the concept of God. Is your dad always right? So that depends on, yeah, like, are you ready to work on that one? But yeah, is your dad always right? Is it possible that your dad makes a mistake at some point? Yeah, maybe not here, but generally. So you point out problem with the argument, and maybe it encourages the child to share, okay, yeah, maybe you have your own answer, or you agree with it, but you would share why. Yeah, what it means to you. So here with my mom, it was more stick to the question. Yeah, so the teenagers are strict. So does everything has a mother? Are we talking only about people? Is it the main thing for everyone? Is it the main thing for an orphan as well? So yeah, you have like multiple questions here with the mom. What is stupid about it? Yeah, so what makes this question stupid? Yeah, the same. Then here about electrons, there was like this perspective, like physicalist maybe. So can there be anything more important than matter? Yeah, because we are speaking about these electrons as small particles, everything is built from them, and then we try to give a really different perspective. So can there be anything more important than matter? I really like this one. yeah, can a purpose of anything be more important than its material? That's a difficult one. So we discussed it, but again, maybe not the thing itself, but what is it for? Yeah, so a big one as well. Won't tell you. So let's have a look at the secret. So yeah, what will happen if you share? Don't you know? Oh no, what is the universe? Yeah, we haven't discussed this one. Don't you know the word? Or do you see several meanings? Because it might indicate that he sees the complexity of the question already, or maybe really like doesn't understand how he can interpret it. And have you got a hypothesis, at least one, that you are ready to share? Or maybe you have three. Okay, list. Yeah, and then we'll try to work on them. And here, it's not written, dust or maybe love, that we haven't discussed. Usually when you hear a number of ideas somewhere, when we need to be more specific and to start working with something and arguing, yeah, so you may ask to choose. Okay, so you said dust or maybe love, which one would you go for? Yeah, this one or that one? And yeah, why? So yeah, that's it. So you have it. You can yeah, have a look at it later as well. So now we have to start logic. Oh my God, we have to. What we can do. So something that you can even draw. Yeah, something really like structured. So what is an argument? Yeah, when you have some assumptions, some premises, or like idea one, idea two, number of ideas, and then you make a conclusion. That's your statement, that's your message, that's your claim. And usually, so I just that's the traditional form in logic, when you have like 1, 2, this line and the conclusion. And when you work with like children a bit older, when if they write something on your lessons, or for the lessons, not only if it's not only an oral dialogue, so when they work with each other's little texts, maybe you can teach them to extract the statement and the arguments. Yeah, that's something basic children start with. So what do you start with? You start with looking for the conclusion. Yeah, you look for a conclusion for the statement first. Yeah, you try to find this key statement, and then look for something that supported it. Yeah, what were the arguments then? And sometimes it's really great to practice, sometimes even in fairy tales. Yeah, you can find it with some little texts for not very young children. So informal, argument, take an umbrella, it's raining. Yeah, we use it a lot. So we miss some premises. Yeah, we miss something that we take into account. Yeah, we don't verbalize it. And it's really important to notice it. Yeah, we will have one exercise here as well. So formal, when you can you can clearly say, when it is raining, it is wise to take an umbrella. It is raining today, you should take an umbrella. Yeah, so that's your conclusion when we really like formalize something really simple. So here, kind of like this card you may have somewhere around you. General evaluation of the argument. What do you need to check? Yeah, so relevance. Is it like relevant? Is there a connection? Yeah. To the key statement. Sometimes it can be really irrelevant, like it's the first thing, the easiest. Second, clarity and like unambiguity. So it should be really clear. So are the terms used correctly? Is the principle of this like identity fulfilled? So you see that in the argument, you don't change the interpretation, the meaning of the term. Yeah, there is no this like slippery thing. You spoke about one thing and then you start arguing and speaking about the same thing, the same term in a different way. Yeah, and it's really often this thing happens. You have to check yourself as well when you when you write an essay. And are the structure and the idea itself clear? So that's about this clarity and unambiguity. Then assumptions. Yeah, so you saw this first very clear example when our our argument, yeah, the whole system is rather like short, yeah, so we skip some steps, and we very often we can reveal, yeah, we can realize that the argument is weak, or it has a problem when we find this assumption that was not said clearly, and that it's something that contradicts I don't know, reality, or contradicts yeah, something that we hear next. So we will see the examples. And one more thing, something that is really important to keep in mind, that actually all our questions like have this kind of assumptions as well. So here you can see this: what is the origin of the earth? So what do we state with the question? So you ask a question, but at the same time you maintain something. So what is that? Can you share what is like maintained within the question? What is the origin of the earth, if you ask it? Bernard?
That it originated from something, that it before it never existed.
Yeah, that's not eternal. Yeah, so it is temporal, and yeah, and so it originated, and it is already an assumption. It is already a statement. Yes, that it was not ever and forever. So, and you can check it within questions you ask as well, and you bring. So what do you maintain there? You can give such exercises to children. Yeah, to write any question they want and to find what did they say within it, what did they maintain within the question. So yeah, and yeah, okay, logic is logic, so it comes a bit later. And soundness. So how can we say that something is sound? Yeah, so when your argumentation is relying on facts, it's not always possible in philosophy, so it's important to see so the arguments, they are facts or rather beliefs and opinions. If they are beliefs and opinions, and that's all we may have somewhere, yeah, in a moral discussion, for example, so then you check the logic. Yeah, so you cannot check the facts, yeah, no fact checking, but you can look at the logic, and at the hidden assumptions that we are at least aware of them. And yeah, like again, this logical thing, is your argument inductive or deductive? So is your conclusion then necessary or probable, just probable? So are you speaking about necessity, and it's a very strong, yeah, claim, or you're speaking only about possibilities? Yeah, and then yeah, we must be aware when we argue. So I will illustrate this a bit later. So here, yeah, so generally deduction, yeah, when you start with a theory, with a big, yeah, some general claim, then yeah, you can derive, yeah, and conclude things out of this like big statement logically, yeah, and here you follow logic, and your conclusion is necessary, like you accept the theory as true and you derive it, yeah, from the theory, from the big statement. That's like deduction. Induction is the opposite. So you can observe one example, second example, third example, the fourth example, and then you generalize and think, okay, I guess the fifth case will be similar. Yeah, or you think it's a law and you create a theory, yeah, based on your observations. So here are the examples. So here, yeah, deductive reasoning. You have a kind of a law at the beginning. If it's sunny in Singapore, then yeah, the person we, I don't know, observing, yeah, spying on, then he won't be carrying an umbrella. It's sunny in Singapore, so he won't be carrying an umbrella. So pure logic, just a kind of formula. And inductive, every time I walked by that dog, it hasn't tried to bite me. So I conclude that next time, yeah, I try to predict, next time I walk by that dog, it won't try to bite me. So the first one, yeah, is necessary. Yeah, the conclusion is necessary. Yeah, we have if, then, yeah, and here it's probable. Yeah, so it's quite probable if it never bited me, have never bited me before, then it won't. But we can't say that it is necessary and it is not possible that one day the dog does it. So that's the main difference between these two kind of reasoning. And then, yeah, then you know, are you speaking about probabilities when you have a dialogue? It's just probable, or the claim is really strong and someone maintains that something is really necessary, like have no exclusions. Yeah, absolutely, generalized. And then it's far easier actually to find a counterexample, and it can be enough to find just a counterexample to show that this deductive reasoning doesn't work, or to show a problem, yeah, like, I don't know, in logic. So you can, well, there is a like more extended explanation here with some other quite clear examples about parties and other things here, so you can watch it. I will send you. I'm sure it would be, it will make it much clearer, and so closer to practice as well. So sorry, about 10 minutes. So here, one more thing we need. So you can see this classical formalized argument. Premise 1, premise 2, and conclusion. The most famous one from philosophy. All men are mortal. Socrates is a man. Therefore, Socrates is mortal. So an example of this like valid reasoning. Valid means logic is all right here. No problem with logic. But it doesn't mean if our logic is good that our conclusion is true. That's important, because you can see absolutely the same structure on the right. All cheese is from the moon. Chocolate is cheese. Therefore, chocolate is from the moon. The logical structure is absolutely the same. But about Socrates, we have a true conclusion. And we don't have a true conclusion in the case with the cheese and moon. Could you tell me why we don't have a true conclusion in the second case, even though the logic is valid? Okay, Bernard?
Because it's not a fact. Because the fact that it's posed is, not true.
Okay, and Marcel? The mic?
I think the second premise is not true. So it may be valid, but not true. And therefore,
so we have problems with premises. All cheese is from the moon. That's not true as well. Chocolate is cheese,
isn't it?
You see the picture. Then chocolate is cheese. So we have problems. We have two premises that aren't true. So here we did some fact checking. Actually, and even though the logic is perfect, the conclusion is wrong. So that's something like, something basic, to know that validity is not truth. Doesn't like, I forgot the word, guarantee. Guarantee. So here it's a nice structure. So the first thing you see, whether it's deductive or inductive. So here you look, are the arguments, are the examples, are the cases we consider really I don't know, typical, usual, clear, and we trust them. We think that's true. They are facts, the observations we have, so we can call them strong. And yeah, here strong, and then yeah, so we check, yeah, they are true. So this argument is then quite, the conclusion is quite probable. So if we have weak, yeah, in inductive arguments, so like we have, I don't know, only 2 observations, very few, yeah, or they are not that bright, or we doubt that we really can, I don't know, find more examples like that. So you can see a bit different terms here, but then your argument is rather weak, and yeah, the conclusion is maybe possible, but yeah, maybe even less than possible, like lower than 50% of probability. And when you speak about deductive arguments, so you check logic. Yeah, mainly you check logic here. So if logic is good, so your arguments, and the argument and the premises are true, then you have a sound, good argument. If logic is good, but you check the premises, yeah, and even one of the premises is wrong, then yeah, again, it doesn't work, and your argument is unsound. You cannot trust it. So if logic is invalid, then it's unsound anyway. Yeah, even if the premises were true. So that's like the big picture somehow. Then let's oh, sorry. So some recommendations, like again, general recommendations how to argue well. So so you can show that you're yeah, you can be rather clear about your assumptions. So you try to formalize yeah, your argument to share all assumptions you have and you are aware of. So you like being completely honest, then actually your argumentation is stronger. Then we are not speaking about rhetorics, but about argumentation. So, and you can show like the chain, for example, yeah, of your reasoning, the coherence between your arguments. You can show that the one who would disagree, the imaginary disagreeer, would be wrong because his assumptions are not that strong, or they have problems, or they would be like won't go through fact checking. Yeah, and then yeah, you can make your argumentation even stronger. Yeah, when you take into account the one who may disagree, think the contrary, you think of his possible arguments, and you can show that his possible arguments are wrong. Yeah, that's make you, I don't know, the champion. Yeah, and it's always great when you yeah, can give illustrations. So you don't, yeah, you don't break logic, yeah, logic laws, so no fallacies, and you can show, yeah, again, that your opponent's fallacies, your opponent's problems. So now let's yeah, we are very close to start, yeah, to try yeah, our practice. So fallacies are like mistaken beliefs, yeah, based on unsound arguments, and usually they derive from reasoning that is logically incorrect. So here you can see an illustration. One there are lots of different kinds of ad hominem, yeah, problems. So when you try to point out that like your shoes are dirty, so you can't argue well, for example, whatever like that. So what if I did it? You did it too. You can hear it, especially in children's conflicts and dialogues, but in adults dialogues as well. That's a big problem. So it says nothing. If I did something, it doesn't prove that it was a good thing, and there is there are no problems with it. So yes, that's a fallacy. Yeah, this yeah, a dominant, for example. Let's try. So Marcel, tell me, how much time do we have? So
time is up.
Yeah, so I asked you as far as we start earlier now, and we wanted to have 2 hours at the very beginning when we planned, yeah, the course. So is it all right for you to have 10-15 minutes more, or you have to be like free in an hour and a half?
You mean for me? For
everybody? Yeah, I ask you all.
Others first, please. I'm going to send out a little warning here. Okay, I'll be back in a minute.
Okay, of course.
For me, it won't be a problem. The only thing is maybe we could have a small 5-minute break in between.
Okay, so I'm not that short. So last time I had had to jump into another lesson right after. Yeah, we finished.
True.
But
That's
now
true.
we have this hour difference, and yeah, if you have more time, I'm ready to do it. Yeah, to take a bit more. Do you need now? I don't know. We can finish it
for how many minutes? 15.
Yeah, 10 or 15 minutes we can take.
For me, it doesn't matter. It's okay.
No, 10 minutes would be.
Yeah, for me too.
So do you need minutes right now?
Oh no! It's not for now anymore. But it maybe for future sessions, if you would, if you want to plan for an extended period of time,
I asked you.
Then it would be. Then it might, from a personal, personally, it might be nice to have a short break in between. So maybe just a few minutes, but just to stretch a little.
Yeah,
maybe get something to drink or a little sanitary break.
I asked you once, you said like you don't need it, so but yeah, we can do it. By the way, I need some water.
What's the verdict?
So we decided to work this like 10-15 minutes more. And Bernard also asks if it's possible to have like a several minutes break in the middle of the session, like next time.
Okay.
So let's do this exercise. Yeah, maybe it would be then the last one for today. So you can see, kind of reasoning here. Could you spot a problem? Do you see a problem here? Okay, usually Marcel and Bernard, you raise your hands at the same time. Okay, Bernard.
First of all, nothing's telling me that the cloud is arriving at our place today. So just the fact that it's on the horizon doesn't mean that it's coming our way.
Okay.
So I don't see how it will be raining here today. That's not a certainty.
Okay. So you show another possibility for it to go, and then it won't mean rain. Okay. Yeah. Marcel?
I think the second premise is incorrect. Dark clouds do not mean rain all the time.
So yeah, that's it. So actually it is named appeal to probability, and we see that when something is probable, and we state it as something necessary. Yeah. So both comments are correct and points out the problem. So we take something for granted, because it's probable or possible, but of course, it can go another way. We may have just cloudy weather without rain, and so that it doesn't necessarily mean rain today. Yeah, that's it. That was easy, but it's really very, very common. Yeah, so you can spot this one in reasoning. Oh, sorry. So here you have lots of children's answer with the universe. Here the examples are rather like not really young children answers, but still we can work on them. So what could you name a problem here? Bernard, you have a beard as well. Okay, maybe Carmen?
Well, the premise that, or the conclusion that, everyone with a beard or at least Ronnie, he has a beard, that he has to be the guy who was having dinner with his wife. I think that's a fallacy right there. It's just, you know, simply not true.
Yeah, but it's not said here. We are trying to not just to find a wrong premise, but to again to see this example as a kind of a structure, so the logic itself. So there we took something possible for granted and thought that it is necessary. Yeah, that was the problem in the first one. Here, try to see what's wrong. We are not saying that everyone with a beard is going to be the one who's having an affair, but we said that about Ronnie. So why? What did we assume? What was the logical mistake here? Maybe you can help Carmen. So Carmen.
Maybe the logical mistake is that the man with the beard must be Ronnie, that's the link that they made. And also maybe that having dinner with his wife immediately is like results in having an affair. That's not necessarily true either.
That's that is again, so we it is even not probable but possible, and then we think that it has already happened. So that's it works here too. So actually it is called this masked man fallacy. So when we notice like two things, they have something in common. Yeah, they have something similar, and then we think that all the rest features that the first thing has would be necessarily applied to the second. Yeah, like so for example, I don't know. Yeah, so it can be about anything else. So a man with a beard at chocolate, and then I maybe again like inductively even I saw several cases when a man with a beard like dark chocolate, and now I think that like all men with a beard like dark chocolate. And even I can think that some other features, some other things would work too. Yeah, for someone who had something in common. Yeah, so you just relate, put two things together. So it is really difficult to see when you discuss some complicated things, when people give kind of historical answers. Yeah, so for example, remember, I don't know, this case in history, they had the same something, something in common with the case we observe nowadays, and then we think that the whole story will go the same way, and we'll have the same conflict nowadays, only because we have one thing similar, only because we have one thing in common. Is it clear what I'm trying to show now? Yeah, so when you know that there is such a problem, here the example is quite clear. Maybe it's more probable than you can spot it when the topic is more complicated, when it's not that obvious, to see this. Okay, and here. Okay, who is brave? I can draw it. Okay, someone speak, please. I'm just drawing the universe, but
All right.
universe.
So it's not just stating that all Dubliners are from Ireland, but in this case, they also state that, based on the premise that all Irishmen are from Dublin, and that's not true.
So yeah, it's I tried to draw it very clearly. So you can, we will work on these circles, Venn diagrams, because it's something you really can draw at any point with children, and it's extremely helpful. So and maybe, actually, so when you have this structured, formalized argument, you always can draw it. Yeah, on circles, and here it's one of the easiest. So Dubliner, so it's included. Yeah, if we put a spot anywhere, inside here, I can use a tick. So it will. Oh, it's not very well seen. Sorry. So it will be from this person will be from Ireland as well. Yeah, but Ronnie can be here. Yeah, so he can be not a Dubliner, but he's from Ireland, or he can be somewhere here from the universe, from the universum, around, and then he's not a Dubliner and he's not from Ireland. Yeah, so that's a simple logical mistake, but it is done quite often as well. Marcel?
Yes, I'm sorry to spoil the fun, but I need to go, so I don't know whether you would like to close down completely, or you want me to leave and come back later to close the recording.
So I would like to finish the work, with our logical work at this point. The only thing I would would like you to give a short ticket to go away, and then we can finish for today. So if you have 2 or 3 minutes more, then we can finish.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just take a picture of this one very quickly. So I will ask you the following question. So could you name one thing from today's session that was most helpful? But by now, what do you think? The most helpful thing we discussed or did today. One thing.
Maybe how to simplify the question for students when we want to make the discussion and we come up with some topic, and then they have some answer and how to deal with them. And also, for me also it was, I also got a little bit answer of the question that I really want to know at the first time. So I think I learned a little bit how to deal with the question the children ask actually with the topic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So you can ask anyone?
Or maybe Bernard?
Yes, well, thanks. I think the main thing that I learned today was that learning how to ask follow-up questions and what kind of follow-up questions can help students to get more engaged and open up. I still feel that it's always easy, in theory, but once you're there on the spot, sometimes I just forget what I have to ask, and I can't recall any questions, even though they're very simple questions, but you're like, all right, just skip it or whatsoever. So it's a very good reminder, today's session.
Okay.
And Carmen, you can continue.
Yes, thank you. I think for me, what I learned mostly today is to find flaws in arguments and point out those flaws in a way that makes sense for children as well. Because before I didn't really know how to dissect these arguments, and now I have a bit more of a clear understanding of how to dissect the arguments, make sure that they're logically valid, and I think that's very useful.
Yeah, I will give you the materials you can look through as well. The really the very structured website with all the names, and you don't actually need to remember the names, but you can see the structure and more examples you can use. And we'll work as well a bit more with the assumptions and with these circles, how to show logic really like visually. Yeah, so that's our next step. Okay, Marcel, you're free to go.
Yes, I know. I like the how to avoid conceptual confusion very much on the what's the most important thing in the universe, or what is the most important in the universe. The question was different, right? What makes the universe?
What is the what is the most important thing in the universe? Yeah, that question.
And that it can be important to avoid conceptual confusion, but sometimes you also need to just go with the flow when you realize that there's something else in the group that is more important maybe to discuss than your own plan. So letting go of your own plan. So that's what I felt was important.
You can give up your agenda and work on important things for children. Yeah.
Shall I stop the recording, by the way?
Yep.